As long as the game's fun, I'll keep playing the game. I can do whatever you want with the storyline and gay characters kissing each other on the I love gay characters too. I don't want to read a bunch of books about magic lesbians, but I got no problem with it. That sounds great. Fantastic. I'm gonna get in trouble for this video. It's gonna get taken out of context. All right. Hey everybody, how we doing? I don't want to make this video. This is a terrible idea. I should shut my mouth. I should just shut up. I really shouldn't make this video. I'm just gonna get yelled at like I always do, but I'm gonna make the video. Why am I doing it? Because I'm an idiot. As we all know, there's a teensy bit of racial tension going on in America. I don't know if you've heard about this. Have you heard about this? Maybe it's gone under the radar for you. Now, I haven't really made a video about it on my channel. Obviously, I streamed some of the protests, but I figured, you know, I'm a white guy. I don't really feel like I have too much to add to the conversation that isn't already being said. And if you do want my opinion on it, you can follow me on Twitter, where I am a loudmouth and I spout off. But I will say, I think it's good. I think it's good. Most of what's going on. I'm not trying to stay in the middle ground again. It's a very complex subject, and I haven't really prepared a statement on it. I don't have the black square ready to go. Let's put it that way. The black square, that's a whole other hornet's nest. Point is, there's a lot of stuff going on. Pretty much every company in America is being forced to give some sort of statement on racism. I saw Bratz dolls. It was like one of the first ones out the gate was the Bratz company. I'm like, all right, that was kind of weird. And then everyone started doing it. I'm like, all right, I guess they just knew it was good to get out in front of it. And I get it. You know, nobody wants to get caught up in this thing. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Long John Silver's or Applebee's or Home Depot or Office Max. You want none of this. And I get it. You're a company. You just want to be like, we love everybody, especially the black people. We're all good. Please don't boycott us or anything. We love you. Okay, Starbucks, smash our windows. It's fine. We're behind you guys. Whatever you want to do, just please don't bankrupt us. Corporate America, what are you going to do? So, of course, game companies are getting in on it as well. And one game that is kind of near and dear to my heart is a game called Magic: The Gathering. Now, I've been playing Magic for, I don't even know, 15 years, maybe longer. Let me see, 2009, no, maybe, yeah, about 12, 13 years, I guess it would be. And I'm a big fan of the game. I have some cards. I don't really collect the physical cards, though. I mostly play online. There's a new client called MTG Arena, which is fantastic. It's much better than spending hundreds of dollars on Magic Online like I used to. And I'm still a big fan of Magic, the game, okay, as designed by Richard Garfield. A fantastic game, one of the best games I think of all time, and I honestly think it's one of those games that, like chess, will endure for hundreds of years. I just think it's that perfect and concise a design, and I kind of want to make a video about that sometime, but anyway, I'm getting off topic. Point is, I love the game. I don't love the company that makes the game, Wizards of the Coast. Now, the whole game space right now, I used to work in games, console games more, but, you know, the whole gaming space, it's a very, I don't know the best way to put it, like a hippie, touchy-feely, let's, you know, all get together and think about our feelings type space. You know, where you got to celebrate everybody's individuality. Don't make jokes. You're going to get in trouble if you make the wrong joke. If you're a white guy, you got to tiptoe around a lot of this stuff. I'm not saying anything bad. I get it. That's your culture. Fine. Some people, you make that work. Me, I'm a dumb loudmouth. I make horribly offensive jokes constantly. It's part of why I got out of the game industry. I'm not the right guy for that space, and I fully acknowledge that. As long as the game's fun, I'll keep playing the game. I can do whatever you want with the storyline and gay characters kissing each other on the I love gay characters, too. I don't want to read a bunch of books about magic lesbians, but I got no problem with it. That sounds great. Fantastic. I'm gonna get in trouble for this video. It's gonna get taken out of context. All right, let's get back on topic. Point is, about 2 days ago, I saw this article on a Magic Reddit message board The Wizards I Know, written by a guy I have never heard of, which, you know, fine, I haven't heard of most Magic people, but he was an editor for a big strategy website, Channel Fireball, whatever. And I believe a black gentleman, I assume. I haven't seen a picture of him, but based on this article, yes. So this article is about that he believes Wizards of the Coast is a semi-racist company. This article covers a lot. It's 11 pages. Some stuff, I go, yeah, that is a little weird. He goes, how come there are no black designers on the team, you know, coming up with new cards? I'm like, yeah, it's reasonable. It's a big game. They have a big design staff, I assume. Yeah, you could probably squeeze some diversity in there and get a more rounded, whatever. You know, more cards that maybe are exciting for different communities. Again, yeah, maybe the non-binary players, they're excited that they got this elf card, which is not a good card. This card, I feel bad for the non-binary community. Your card is not powerful, but at least you got it. So he has a couple good points like that, and then a couple other points that I was like, kind of a stretch. Kind of a stretch. Probably the biggest stretch that I found was power and toughness. Every creature in Magic has a power and toughness score. You might be a 2-2, a 2-3, a 4-5, a 10-10. That's, you know, your power and your toughness. The boat is a 7-11. Just because they've said, we want to try different power toughness combinations that we've never done. It's the first 7-11 creature they ever did. And obviously, 7-11, oh, that's, you know, like the name of a convenience store. That's kind of interesting. And this guy goes, well, that's a little weird because the set it's in is kind of an Indian-themed set. So are you saying Indian people own 7-Elevens? And I'm like, that's a stretch, man. I don't think when they were designing the boat, they were like, I think we can rip on Indian people by making this a 7-Eleven. And then he goes to say, well, look, one of the designers said we should have put the word convenience on it, you know? And I'm like, yeah, because it's a 7-Eleven joke. It's not an India joke. Again, I think that's a stretch. As some people have said, well, you know, as long as it could offend Indian people, you should have someone there, a sensitivity person, whatever they call them, to make sure stuff like that, even inadvertent racism, doesn't make it onto the cards. And I'm like, all right, maybe that's a reasonable thing to say. Now, there is a card, however, that the more I look at it, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay, so there's a card called Invoke Prejudice, which is drawn by a guy named Harold McNeil, who at first I was like, oh, this is probably just a coincidence. He probably wanted to draw a spooky ghost. He didn't know it was going to look kind of like a bunch of clan members coming out of the fog. And then you look him up and you're like, this guy's a little troublesome. Kind of has some weird writings on race and that sort of thing. Maybe he really was trying to draw a bunch of clan members. I mean, he saw that they hand you the name of the card, or at least back in the day, they would give you the name of the card. They'd say, the name is Invoke Prejudice. Draw whatever you want. And what came to him was a bunch of spooky clan members with axes coming out of the dark. All right. And people have acknowledged this. They've said, this card was clearly racist. It's always been a thing that Magic players talk about. And we acknowledge it. And I'm totally okay with Wizards addressing this card, addressing maybe their history of racism. This card was printed in 1994. So 25 years ago, you make some mistakes. I get it. In addressing this card, which I agree could be a bit of a problem, I feel like they've gone a bit too far. Let's take a look. We have this from Magic the Gathering, depictions of racism in Magic. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Today we are changing the multiverse ID and removing the Gatherer card image for the card Invoke Prejudice, originally printed in 1994. This card is racist, made even worse by the multiverse ID. It was unfortunately codified with years ago. What that means is that in their database, it had the number 1488. I feel like that's just an unfortunate coincidence. Some people are saying whoever programmed it into the database was making a deliberate racist connection there. I don't know. And if you don't know what 1488 is, don't look it up. It's not going to make your life any better. Let's put it that way. So, and I think this was in direct response to this article, because they were called out and they said, you know what, you're right. We didn't even notice that thing about the number. We're going to go so far as in our database of cards, we're going to remove the picture. So you can't even see the card anymore. It's like it never existed. It's a little weird. A little weird. I don't know about the memory hole. Feels always a bit Orwellian to just erase something from history, but you know what? If it's one card, fine. One card, we'll stop there. We know that the KKK ghosts are racist. We accept this. We'll stop there. That's it. It doesn't stop there, right? It can never just be easy and simple. It's always got to go a bit too far. We will also be removing a number of images from our database that are racist or culturally offensive, which is 7 more cards. And these cards are banned in any sanctioned tournament play. Now that's kind of a symbolic gesture, as most of these cards are not super playable. Although Invoke Prejudice is a pretty powerful card. I don't know if it was ever in any tournament decks. But yeah, none of these cards are really getting played in tournaments. It's more symbolic to ban them. But they are banned. You're not allowed to look at them on the Magic website. They are gone forever. And these cards that they got rid of, they're going, I don't know, feels like they're going a little far. Let's take a look at the cards here on my Twitter. If you follow me, you always get the latest what Vito's mad about. I just rant on Twitter all the time. I'm always mad. Here are the 7 cards. So first of all, we have Crusade. It's got some knights on it. Some Catholic-looking crosses. All white creatures get +1/+1. And this is the problem of Magic. Now, if you've never played Magic, the game has multiple colors of cards. There's 5 colors: green, red, blue. Great colors. Everybody likes them. No problems there. Well, I guess red you could get in trouble. Whatever. White is a color, and black is a color. Now, it's hard to address this. Obviously, we know what colors are, okay? We know that when you say white, you're not always referring to skin tone, right? But you do have a game which refers to white creatures and black creatures, which, as seen alone, if you just said that statement, such as some cards will say, destroy black creature. That sounds bad. Destroy a black creature. That sounds bad if you just said it in a typical conversation. If you were talking with your friends and you said, hey, destroy a black creature. That would be a little weird. You'd feel weird about it, right? But on a card, we understand that it's referencing a type of magic. Black magic, white magic. We understand that in context it works. But it does get weird when you start combining it with imagery and names that I guess could be construed as racist. Now, Crusade is actually a classic card. This is a great card. It's even been reprinted in fairly recent sets. I want to say it was reprinted in the last 5 years as part of a special deck you could buy. And I know what the problem they're having here is that you're getting this typical idea of the Crusades, you know, where they stampeded across Arab nations trying to convert them to the way of the Christ. I get it. It could bring up those images, and I guess it is made worse by the fact that they legitimately have crosses on there. So, okay, fine. I still think it's a little much. I mean, we associate knights with the Crusade. It's another card that's from like 1994. You know, back before I think even we politicized the idea of the Crusades as much. We just kind of looked at it as history, but now it has more context. I'm going to say on the racism scale, sure, okay, we have Invoke Prejudice and Crusade. Fine, just those two, right? Nope, keeps going. Okay, Cleanse. This one's a stretch. This is a stretch. Now, again, we have that phrase we were worried about. All black, it sounds so bad. All black creatures in play are destroyed. It sounds bad in casual conversation. On a Magic card, makes perfect sense. Okay, and honestly, if there was just a card that said all black creatures are destroyed, I don't think we'd have a problem. But the name of the card is Cleanse. That's the combination of terms that we're having a problem with. Can you think of some other cleanse type phrase? Maybe a racial type cleanse? You know where I'm going with this. But the art is a bunch of little goblin men getting wiped from the face of the earth. You're really going out of your wheelhouse to be like, oh, this is so blatantly racist. You really got to think on this one for a second to go, This one, I'm not behind this one. The first two, yeah, maybe. Cleanse? No. What? This is too much, but hopefully the rest of them make perfect sense. Let's take a look. Imprison. We have what looks like a black gentleman, and he's in some sort of energy prison, and he's wearing a mask. You know, like one of those Man in the Iron Mask type things. I mean, I don't know. It's unfortunate that you got a black guy in prison. But then what are you going to say? Like, if you ever want to make... There's a lot of prison effects in Magic. You know, there was even a card recently called a Ghostly Prison. You know, I think there's a couple different cards that say prison on them. Are you never allowed to have a African-looking character on a prison card? It's a weird place to be. I mean, I guess you can just put fantasy animals in the Magic prisons, but I don't know. People of all different colors go to prison. I know there's, you know, different racial balance. See, I'm gonna get in trouble. I should not talk about any of this. I feel like a guy in what looks like a lightning prison, to me, does not call to mind images of America's unfortunate incarceration rates. So this is another one where I'm like, we're going a bit far. I feel, and again, as a white guy, I'm probably not supposed to talk about this, but we're talking about it. Let's keep going. This one we're going to get to later. We're going to skip over that one for now, because I got a lot to say about that one. Obviously, Invoke Prejudice, we're good. Get rid of the KKK ghosts. I'm on board. Let's do it. No problem with that. Here we have Jihad. This one's funny because, and I forgot to bring this up, but I don't know if you've ever heard of a game called Vampire the Masquerade. But, Vampire the Eternal Struggle, sorry. That game was originally called Jihad, and it was made by Wizards of the Coast. And I think about, like, a year or two into printing it, they're like, oh god, why did we name this game Jihad? This was a terrible plan. Yeah, now it's called Vampire the Eternal Struggle. It used to just say Jihad. This one, okay. I don't think anybody wants to think about a Jihad or whatever the hell where they're playing Magic. I've gotten completely lost at this point. Here we go. Gotta go back to where we were. Sure. Jihad is like a real-world religious struggle. I once had a kid try to explain a Muslim Muslim student. I was also a student at the time, a peer, a colleague, tried to explain the concept of a jihad to me. I didn't get it. I still don't really get it. It seems like the definition is not really set in stone. But what we know is that a jihad is commonly associated, I believe, I could be talking out my ass, but associated with the Muslim faith exclusively. So okay. Okay. Let's get rid of the spooky KKK ghosts. Let's get rid of Jihad. And we'll get rid of Crusade while we're at it. Maybe. Those three, I'm like, maybe. And then, finally, last is Pradesh Gypsies, which is actually the only card I own. I was like, oh, I own some racist cards. I didn't even realize. That's another one where Gypsy is a weird term now, even though I believe it is commonly used in parts of the world. The Romanian people, the Roma, do not like to be called gypsies. It is an outdated term. Sure, let's get rid of it. So, I keep saying sure, but here's the thing. These cards are not going to ever get reprinted in the first place. We're not going to reprint the gypsies. They're terrible. This is a bad card. Most of these cards are bad, and even the cards that are good, we have versions of them that are better, and we can just print those. So it's not like they were ever coming back. They were just a part of the game from as far back as 1994. That you go, we used to say gypsy back then, and it wasn't a big deal. Now you're not supposed to say it. Sure, and we can acknowledge that and move forward. But instead, we're going down the memory hole. We're making it into a thing, which I don't. It would work if all the cards were like so blatantly racist. Again, KKK ghosts. I get it. Nobody wants to look at it. Fine. Okay, but like Pradesh gypsies. I mean, I'm not a Romanian person. I don't know how offensive how bad I would feel seeing this ancient magic card. But for some reason to me, I mean, or again, like a card, just a couple of these cards, I'm like, I don't know. Is it really such a stain on the game that we have to destroy it. There are far worse racist things in the world to worry about than a 26-year-old piece of cardboard. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of the memory hole. I think it's better if you leave something around, because you know people are going to go looking for it. You can't erase it forever. And I want to bring up an example here. Now, if you've ever watched the Tom and Jerry cartoons, you might be aware of a character. I can't even say this out loud. Somebody Two Shoes. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to say it. I don't want a voice clip of it. And she is a large black woman who would talk in, you know, the stereotypical type manner of the time. She was a housekeeper, which would, you know, try to beat Tom and Jerry with a rolling pin and speak with a very stereotypical accent, as was attributed to people of her color at the time. What would you call that? Like minstrel type? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. Point is, you watch one of those cartoons and you go, ugh, little much, but they're still Tom and Jerry cartoons. There's still something about them that has value. Okay? They're still fantastic animations put together by talented people who at the time had certain racial views that clearly are not in line with today's racial views. So what do? Do you get rid of all the Tom and Jerry episodes that have this character in them, which is most of them? You'd have to get rid of them forever. Do you animate around them, which I want to say they actually did. I don't know if it was Tom and Jerry, but one cartoon, it might have been Tom and Jerry, actually replaced her with a white woman and redid all the voices. And I don't know if that was a temporary thing they did for Tom and Jerry and then decided to just restore the originals. I'm not sure. Should have looked that up before I got started. Point is, rather than throwing them down the, you know, crazy memory hole, right before you watch the cartoon, you get a message like this. The cartoons you're about to see are products of their time. They may depict some of the ethnic and racial prejudices that were commonplace in American society. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. While these cartoons do not represent today's society, they are being presented as they were originally created, because to do otherwise would be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed. It's funny that the word prejudice is right there when we're talking about a card that literally has the word prejudice in it. But it's that last part that, I mean, I can't say that this is 100% the way to go about things, but I do feel like there is some amount of truth to that statement. That to pretend that racist things did not exist is not the way necessarily to go around it. Now, do I have an example here? This is how Magic is handling it. We have removed this card image from our database due to its racist depiction, text, or combination thereof. Racism of any form is unacceptable and has no place in our games nor anywhere. But there's no image of the card. You're not allowed to look at the card on their website. Now, I'm a little bit torn, because if you want to find a picture of the card, you can still find it. And there's something different between a single image and an entire work of animation. Obviously, you know, if you want to watch an animation that has much more, you know, not educational, but just value. I don't know what word I'm searching for, but clearly an animation has more to it than looking at a single image of a Magic card. You know, there's something there that has value. So, fine. I don't know. Again, I would be fine with this if I knew it was going to stop at things that are actually kind of offensive. Jihad, Invoke Prejudice, those two I'm on board. Crusade, I'm a little bit wavering. Gypsies, I'm a little wavering, but sure. But I know it's not going to stop, and that's the problem. And I know it's not going to stop because we got to talk about the last card that they banned. The last card they banned is a card called Stone Throwing Devils. It is summon devils. They have first strike. Sometimes those with the most sin cast the first stones. 1/1 creature, costs a black. Stone Throwing Devils. It's a bunch of devil-looking creatures who are throwing stones. Now, hopefully you didn't read what I said, because that's the spoiler. Now, what about this card is racist? And I want you to think about it. Maybe some of you have some idea of why it might be racist, but I feel like the majority of you are like me, who went, what? How is this racist? Now, my assumption was and maybe you have the same assumption, was that people were upset because it just references the act of stoning. Stoning being a way that people have been killed in various cultures throughout time. And I was like, are they saying that, you know, black people were stoned, and thus we don't want cards where people are throwing stones or black creatures are throwing stones? I was very confused. And I brought that up in a Facebook group, and I was immediately denounced as the ignorant white man. They said, "You fool! You rube! You idiotic with your small white brain that can't comprehend the obvious racism of this image. This is a common slur," they said, "used to describe the Palestinian people, who are known for, of course, throwing stones at the Israeli border and the soldiers beside it." And they say that commonly, or someone, I assume the Israelis, will yell back at these people who are throwing the stones, and they will say, "You stone-throwing devils, how dare you?" And I went, okay, never heard of this before. That's interesting. You guys are very sure of this definition. Okay, let me do a quick Google search. That's something I want to do. I want to do a Google search for this. Found nothing. If you search for, let's try it right now. Let's do it right here. We're on Google. Stone throwing devils. And we're going to get rid of magic. And we're going to get rid of MTG. Because otherwise we're just going to find that stuff. And actually, let's add Palestine to try and narrow it down a bit. 2 results. Well, that's not 2 results. And one of them is throwing stones on Etsy. And the other one is guitarist Nile Rodgers. Okay, well, what about Palestinian? No, there's nothing. Okay, do I need to add like a hyphen or something? Does that make it? But no. Oh wait, no, there is more stuff. Broken stone throwing machine. Connolly. None of this is what this common slur. Hi, cat. Common. Everyone knows this one. I said, huh, that's weird. I've just been schooled, of course, in this group. You ignorant white man, everyone knows this. The Palestinians are, of course, offended by this common racial slur. Now this group, they go, listen, dummy. If you look up the term stone thrower, which is, you know, a much more common term. I think you could find stone thrower in a variety of situations, a variety of just someone who's throwing a stone. Have you ever heard of the expression, those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones? Okay. If you look up stone thrower, you will find this on Urban Dictionary. You fool. You rube. Top definition, racial slur for Palestinian Arabs. Those damn stone throwers are always bothering the Israeli tanks, you know. Oh my god, Urban Dictionary. Of course. I am such a fool to have not considered an Urban Dictionary definition from 2003 with 14 upvotes and 9 downvotes. Well, clearly it's a common slur now. If Urban Dictionary says so, there must be no other explanation for it. You know, because we always trust frickin' Urban Dictionary. Let's take a look here. So, you know, Urban Dictionary, they do their homework. So of course, if I submit an alternate definition for stone thrower, they're not just gonna throw it out. Oh shit. Okay, so. I added an alternate definition, and literally 15 minutes later, they're like, yeah, throw it up. We don't care. None of this matters. Actually, let's see if they actually put it up. Urban Dictionary. Is it up yet? Oh, it's... Oh, wait. Hey, it's up. There we go. All right, stone thrower. This is me being a little mean. Someone who, in a desperate attempt to appear enlightened on social issues, haphazardly bans and destroys their own merchandise without doing any research on the actual origin of that item. Good old Urban Dictionary. Well, now we know it's a common slur because Urban Dictionary said so, and they do so much work to prove it. I am getting too deep into this. Again, stone throwing devils. The only real usage is New England folklore. It's not about black people or Palestinians or anything. It's literally about devils throwing stones at New Englanders. And the idea of the Palestinian stone throwing of a stone thrower, it's just a term used to describe what's going on in Palestine, not in a racist way. The Palestinians themselves refer to themselves as stone throwers. As you can see here, I found 2 different tribute videos. A tribute to the Palestinian stone throwers the stone throwers tribute. It's a word of that they use to describe themselves. They see themselves as heroes launching stones at the opposition, the heroic stone throwers. It's not a racist term. I mean, is it like the N-word where you're allowed to say it about yourself but no one else can say it? I found no evidence of that either. And here's the point that I'm getting to, which I've done a roundabout. Like I said, slippery slope. So while the 6 cards that were shown have very reasonable justifications, there's no justification for this that I have found. I have found no record of this ever being used as a slur, except the only place I found reference of it being a slur is on Magic message boards themselves. And the messages typically go, hey, someone told me stone throwing devils is a racist term. Is that true? And the response will be, I haven't heard of that, but I guess it could be racist. So this is basically a rumor that was passed around the Magic community. And outside of the Magic community, this term has no meaning. But within the Magic community, it has been assumed to be something in reference to Palestinians. It comes out of nowhere. I don't know who planted this idea. I don't know what the source of it is. But this was never anything. As far as if anybody wants to produce some sort of evidence that stone throwing devils is a term that is commonly used, or even lightly used in a racist way, I'm open to it. But I have found nothing. Which leads me to say to Wizards, you guys can't just rely on bad information to make these decisions, because you're going to start banning stuff that you shouldn't ban. It's going to get ridiculous. We're going to go down a slippery slope, and it's going to suck. Right here they've said, we are starting a review of every card we have printed. This is the first pass. We're going to continue doing this. Now again, they're removing cards from a database. They're banning them from tournament play. Is it the end of the world? No. But it is weird. It is just bizarre, and it's overstepping, and it's trying so hard to be virtuous and pure that it becomes absurd. You've banned a card that means nothing. And I'm already seeing people ask for other cards to be banned that the links are insane, what they're trying to draw. Here's a card called Stormfront Riders. Riding on the Stormfront, the front of a storm. That's a word. Clearly they have some sort of ship that enables them to ride the Stormfront. And I see people going, oh, it's a white creature named a Stormfront? They go, well, haven't you heard of the neo-Nazi website Stormfront? Clearly this is a reference. This card needs to be banned because Stormfront is a racist term. This is gonna keep going. And Stormfront Riders, I believe, gets played. I mean, a lot of these cards, even though they don't get played in tournament formats, they get played in people's commander decks, casual formats. What's gonna happen when you show up to your local Magic store? You try to play Crusade followed by Stormfront Riders, and they ban you because you're a racist. It's gonna be weird when you get kicked out of the Magic store for playing racist cards. I can't show up with the gypsies. Bad times are gonna be had for me. I'm seeing people, and here's where I think it's gonna go next. This is me obviously making wild assumptions. I think next are gonna go the sexy ladies. That's always where it goes. It goes from racism to sexism. That's the next in line, right? They're gonna say, my God, look at these horrific misogynist depictions of women in Magic. Famous card, I love this card, Earthbind. Clearly, the guy who drew this, Quentin Hoover, has a sick mind. He said, I want to draw a half-naked elf lady in some sort of slime bondage. It's hilarious. Earthbind is great. One time, Wizards of the Coast, they put on their Twitter. They're like, if you could have any Magic creature as a pet, what would you want to have? And I said, the elf from Earthbind. And I think they banned that Twitter account that I used to have, and I had to make a new one so I could even see their tweets. You're not allowed to own the elf from Earthbind. They don't like that joke. I think again, we've already seen, I want to say, a card, it makes no sense. And if they're willing to ban a card without any amount of research and just assume it's racist, I don't know where this stops. Now, I keep coming back to this. It's Magic cards, doesn't matter now. It's one company making a stupid game. Is it the end of the world? No. But as a Magic player, I think it's silly. I think it's one of those things where a company is trying so hard to be, I don't want to put it in quotes, but woke, that they're kind of tripping over their own feet. It's embarrassing, I feel. And cringy, maybe you want to say. I don't know. It's a little much. I think slow your roll, Wizards. I know you don't want to be racist. Why would you want to be racist? But why don't you focus on some of the things from that article that the man brings up that I think are much more important? Let's talk about why you don't have any black designers working for you. Let's talk about maybe more black characters who, you know, that way people who play Magic can see themselves represented. I think representation is very important. Let's focus on that. Let's not focus on getting rid of... I mean, yes, get rid of the KKK warriors. We're getting rid of them. I'm on board. The stone-throwing devils, I think you goofed. And I think this is a representation of when wokeness goes wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching my video. Sorry it's so long. I get on these rants. I can't stop myself. I find these subjects very interesting, and I probably dig too deep into them, do way too much research. You can find my definition on Urban Dictionary. That was a waste of my time, but whatever. I was in a big Facebook fight, and I didn't want to lose. I had to produce evidence to tell them that their Urban Dictionary link was faulty. Whatever. More cool videos coming soon. I'm working on some stuff. I'm writing some things, so it'll actually... I want to do more scripted videos like the big Star Wars video. Hopefully you've watched it. And if you would like to support my work... Wrong way. We gotta go... Still wrong. That way. There you go. You can follow me on Patreon, and your guys' support helps keep these videos going. There is no ad revenue in YouTube anymore. I have made... no money on that Star Wars video. I've made some money on that Star Wars video. Not nearly enough to keep this going, so thank you to all my patrons. More cool videos, again, coming soon. Peace and love in 2020, and all you stone-throwing devils out there, keep yourself safe.